Every empire believed its money was eternal. History proves otherwise.
Every empire believes its money will last forever, until the moment it doesn't. The coin that once anchored the medieval world began to fracture under the weight of greed. Trade collapsed as trust, the real foundation of money, crumbled overnight.
Those who doubted first protected their wealth, while the faithful lost everything. A plague unlike anything Europe had seen descended with terrifying speed. With half the population gone, Europe was changed forever. Those with liquidity acquired what others were forced to abandon.
With labor scarce, survivors gained leverage initialization.
We need laborers urgently. The harvest is at risk.
In every era, crises widen the gap between those with reserves and those without.
Florence stood as Europle's financial capital, until one king's default shattered everything. Edward III defaulted on massive loans, shaking Florence's financial empire to its core. The mighty banks of Florence fell almost overnight, crushed by a single unpaid debt. Too big to fail has always been a myth, one history destroys again and again. Behind every battle was a financial war, fought with ink instead of gunpowder.
The more greenbacks flooded the economy, the less each one could buy.
By the war's end, Confederate money was worth less than the paper it was printed on.
While paper died, real value, food, land, and gold, endured. Those who held real goods, food, land, silver, prospered while paper burned.
The assignat collapsed as France printed it into oblivion, until even bread could not be bought with it.
The collapse of the Thai baht unleashed shockwaves across all of Asia.
As the baht fell, currencies across Asia collapsed in rapid succession.
Nations accepted harsh IMF terms in exchange for survival, but citizens paid the real price.
Millions lost jobs as economies shrank, while foreign investors scooped up assets at bargain prices.
Debt in someone else's money is a trap. When their currency rises, yours drowns.
To citizens, everything seemed normal, yet the financial system was rotting from within.
The Lebanese pound lost more than 90% of its value, wiping out entire generations of savings.
Then, overnight, the banks locked their doors, and people learned their savings were gone.
2008 proved again that institutions survive, but people pay the price.
Those who diversified, who held gold, dollars, or tangible goods, survived best.
When money dies, real skills and real assets rise. Those who can build, feed, or repair are never poor for long.
Crises do not erase wealth. They shift it from the many who trusted to the few who prepared. Rome's silver denarius, once mighty, fell victim to the same temptation that destroys every empire: debasement.
Revolutionary France believed paper, backed by promise, could save the nation. It was a fatal delusion.
In Rome's darkest economic years, it was land, food, not money, that protected families.
When money loses meaning, even basic food becomes unreachable.
As trust evaporated, trade collapsed, and with it, Rome's economic foundation. In every collapse,
Those with food and land become the new elite.
Across 1,000 years, the story repeats. Currencies fail, trust evaporates, but value always finds new hands.
The most dangerous belief is that systems last forever. History shows they never do.
Empires fall, currencies die, but gold, land, and skill endure every collapse.
Across history, paper promises crumble because value cannot be printed into existence.
Rome, Byzantium, France, America. Every era repeats the same financial sins. Collapse is not just economic, it is psychological. Most freeze, a few adapt, those few survive.
Survivors are rarely the loyal. They are the doubters who act before the illusion shatters.
Those with liquidity do not merely survive collapses, they reshape their futures with them.
Shocks strike without warning, and only those with reserves can withstand the first impact.
When money fails, production remains. Skills feed families when currencies cannot.
Blind trust in institutions is the most common and most devastating mistake in history.
In every collapse, a small group rebuilds early and becomes the next generation of wealth. Collapse isn't rare. Collapse is the rule. The question isn't whether it happens, it's whether you're ready.
Empires burn trust faster than they can rebuild it, and collapse begins the moment belief fades.
Inflation steals quietly until suddenly what you saved no longer saves you.
In collapse, markets do not fall slowly. They freeze, and silence becomes the loudest warning. Trust doesn't crumble gradually. It snaps, all at once. When currency fails, people flee to what cannot be printed: food, tools, land, and gold. When collapse looms, governments print faster, unaware that each note accelerates the fall.
When currency fails, communities return to barter, the oldest system of trust.
In hyperinflation, salaries collapse first, leaving families with paper but no purchasing power.
Every collapse creates openings for those who know where to stand when the dust settles. When crisis hits, banks protect themselves, not you.
After a currency dies, the world feels paused. Businesses silent, shelves empty.
Whenever systems fail, it is ordinary families who pay the heaviest price.
Wealth disappears not because it is taken, but because the system that measured it collapses. When official systems collapse, black markets become the new arteries of survival.
The plan is clear on the board. We have enough provisions for everyone. Let's move with purpose and unity.
Those who can feed others become powerful in every collapse, because hunger never changes.
Energy collapse freezes economies. Without fuel, everything stops.
When cities fail, people quietly walk away. Survival lies where stability still grows.
Collapse punishes the unprepared, but rewards those who planned for uncertainty.
Land, skills, and resilient communities rebuild every fallen world. These are the currencies collapse cannot destroy.
When one institution fails, it weakens the next. Collapse spreads like falling dominoes.
Modern systems promise protection, but in real collapse, they fail as quickly as ancient ones.
Advanced societies do not escape collapse. They only collapse differently.
When public services collapse, daily life becomes a battlefield for survival.
Food shortages do not take months. They begin days after systems break. Rural communities endure collapse better because they rely on production, not systems. When systems fade, the simplest elements, water, fire, warmth, become priceless.
When law enforcement weakens, communities defend themselves because safety cannot be outsourced in collapse.
In a world where money fails, skills become the new economy, and those who can create never go hungry.
Collapse is not just an ending, it is the beginning of whatever comes next.
When states weaken, borders lose meaning, and survival flows where rules once stood.
When money fails, trust becomes currency, and reputation becomes wealth.
When digital systems fail, modern life instantly rewinds by centuries. Every collapse buries paper, but gold always resurfaces.
Pensions are promises, and in collapse, promises are the first casualties.
When systems pause, learning survives wherever curiosity remains.
In collapse, medicine becomes precious, and those with knowledge save lives. After collapse, power shifts from titles to usefulness. Preparedness compounds. Each day of stability creates another advantage.
Collapse happens fast. Recovery takes generations, but it always begins with those who endure.
Those who remember collapse prepare for the next one, and there is always a next one.
Cities amplify efficiency and prosperity, and vulnerability in collapse.
When global trade breaks, local networks keep life moving.
Scarcity doesn't create evil, it reveals it.
Money is whatever people agree to accept, and that agreement changes fast.
Collapse doesn't mean chaos everywhere. Most people choose cooperation when survival depends on it. In collapse, power belongs to those who can move goods, not those who issue orders.
Normal doesn't come back. Something new replaces it, slowly.
Wealth disappears. Culture remains, and it shapes what comes next. Collapse is inevitable. Adaptation decides who remains standing.
The next generation does not mourn what was lost. They master what remains.
History is not written by empires, but by those who outlive them.
When systems fall, their symbols fall with them.
When money dies, knowledge becomes the ultimate inheritance.
Trade returns slowly, not because systems are fixed, but because people adapt.
From the ashes of collapse, new centers of power always emerge.
Eventually, paperwork returns, because humans seek structure.
Money returns, but trust is conditional, earned slowly. Over time, collapse becomes a story, then a myth, then forgotten.
Collapse is not the end. It is the turning of the wheel.
Collapse never comes without warning, only without attention.
Denial is not ignorance. It is emotional self-defense.
Panic is the most expensive emotion in finance.
The best exits are quiet, long before the crowd rushes the door.
The strongest assets rarely look impressive until everything else fails.
Collapse rewards action, not opinion.
Mobility is freedom when systems collapse.
The most prepared people are the least visible.
Collapse filters illusions, leaving only what truly works.
Systems fail. Choices remain.
The real winners of collapse rarely announce themselves.
After collapse, wealth hides again, because visibility attracts risk.
After collapse, trade becomes personal, and fairness becomes survival.
Every collapsed civilization leaves behind monuments, not to success, but to excess.
After collapse, success is no longer counted, it is lived.
Every collapse begins again with confidence.
The new system never looks new to those who remember the old one. Those who survive collapse learn one rule above all others: don't advertise strength.
Systems collapse, but individuals still choose how history moves. History does not punish ignorance. It repeats until it is understood.
After collapse, life does not end. It simply changes.
Scarcity teaches discipline faster than any lecture.
When collapse comes, debt stops working overnight.
After collapse, trust shrinks to the distance you can walk.
Skills unused disappear. Skills shared survive.
Collapse forces people to plan long-term again, or not survive.
After collapse, restraint becomes the highest form of status.
Children remember what adults demonstrate, not what they promise.
The strongest cultures treat preparedness as routine, not fear.
In every collapse, calm is the final and rarest advantage.
Collapse is not punishment, it is instruction. History's price is always higher when its lessons are ignored.
Preparedness is not paranoia, lomiantani. It is responsibility.
What is decentralized cannot collapse all at once.
Technology accelerates life, but skills preserve it.
The calm observer survives longer than the fast reactor.
Every collapse transfers wealth from illusion to reality. Knowing this, what will you do differently?
Empires fall. Money fails. But people who adapt always survive.
History does not ask permission. It proceeds.